smile. And what you do makes me smile. You're the reason that I smile. God, you make me totally complete. Yeah, yeah. You're the reason that I smile. Every way, by my side, constant day, make me happy. The reason that I smile. God, you make me totally complete. Yeah, you make me totally complete. The reason that I smile. Yeah, yeah. Every day, everywhere, by my side, constant day, make me happy. Everything discussed on this show originated as public information. My commentary is given about what has been said or done by y'all out there, public figures and such a bit. If you don't want to be this darn discussed up here on this show, then don't do it. All right, let's go. And welcome to LarryReidLive. As promised on yesterday, I said I'm going to be popping up on today. And then Saturday is actually the live show. I am still battling vocally, but I'm going to do this here interview. The devil is 10 lies, 5 deceptions, and 3 not telling the truth. I'm going to do it. So October the 12th, live show. Go to LarryReidLive.com and click Get Tickets so that you can be there. I don't know if there are any left or not. I have not checked in the last 48 hours. So I may be telling you to go there and get tickets. That ain't enough for you to be got. But I'm going to check and see. And if you go there and there are no tickets left, email LarryReid.com, put in the subject line, I want a ticket, and tell me what kind of ticket it is that you want, and I'll see if I can make some room for another VIP or either general admission. All right, there is something that is going on that this brand, this platform, LRL, is behind. My Black Dignity has been pissed on, and that happened by way of the Plantation Network owner. He's a white man. Don't have no problem with him owning a black business or patronizing black customers or showcasing our black talent. I mean, we got BET and everybody else who do that. That's not a problem. And to be honest, that's pretty much how it has always been for us here in this country. Normally, we are the workers. We are the builders. We are not sitting at the table strategizing, owning not too much. Even when we look at the boards in the Fortune 500, 200, in the magazine stuff, you may have 10 black folk out of all them businesses who may sit on the board. I think the top 5, you're only talking about 2 black people. You know, so we really got to change a whole lot in this country. But we can't be always pointing the finger at our other brothers and sisters, because some of the stuff that we are not doing is because we have not learned how to work together as one. One of the things that the boycotts and the marches did in the 50s and so on, it united us. And it was black people and our allies of all shapes, colors, and different types of people. And I really feel like that we need to get back to using our voice, be it our talent or our dollar, to boycott or to protest, to really get the powers that be to see that we see ourselves and we know exactly how powerful that we are and demand that we are dignified. But before we do that, we're going to have to do it amongst ourselves. One of the things you may be experiencing if you've been commenting under the post as relates to this boycott, as it relates to some of the things that have been in the news that I feel as though as a black people we should unite around, and I see that we're getting distracted and we start talking about each other or speaking negative, you see your comment disappear. And not only that, some of you are actually getting banned. And it's because you are contributing to the dissension and the lack of unity and teamwork that is amongst us as a people. And we got to learn how to put our beliefs, our thoughts, and our feelings and our emotions aside for the greater cause. And it is a huge problem in the black community. How come we can't talk about what's going on in our community and fix those things and rally around it without talking about each other, being critical of each other in that moment? I'm not saying we shouldn't be critical and we should have certain conversations, but as relates to the whole, right now what is priority is that blackface has been doodled and drawn, and we have been, in my words, disrespected. And we as a people need to stand up, and our allies, and let our voice be heard. And I'm so glad that I didn't have to do this fight like some of the other fights that's calling me several thousands of dollars and potentially tens of thousands of dollars if we have to go and do a lawsuit now. It is such a good feeling to know that there are other outlets that are picking up this story, and then there are other black leaders that are getting behind what I made a decision to get behind. It didn't matter to me whether skinny George Bloomers decided to get behind it or not. It was something that I was going to do. And of course, my mentor, y'all know how he is, so you know he was behind me 100%. And I'm so glad for News One and I think Black News and some of the other people I've seen that are doing their own press releases behind this story. This is important and it's horrible. And them same people that be talking that got so much to say on this don't have too much to say when I'm talking about a pastor that's not taking care of their child, or I'm talking about a pastor that is abusing or misusing women. Whenever, I do those stories, I'm out there on my own. And some people down there, they're commenting, but when it comes to going to court, having a lawyer bill, having to be careful as it relates to my children, and everybody in my crew now having to have, a license to carry. Everybody ain't going to be in the fight like that, but I don't mind doing that. But some of you are, and so thank you for that, and to all of you outlets and things of that nature. Today, we're going to hear from one of our black leaders, and I always see y'all in the comments saying stuff, well, what about this situation, that? Well, y'all throw all of that to the side and get your mind wrapped around this right here, and we'll talk about that later at the house when it's just us and not in front of all of our other brothers and sisters, because we really looking like we are our worst enemy. And now, see, I can say this because I got this kind of skin. And so I can talk like this to my foe. Quit being niggas. Quit with the niggerment. Huh? Yes, you are the reason why I made up the word niggerment. Some of y'all must not get no whoopings when y'all were coming up. Maybe you got raised like some of the white folk. Somebody should have whooped your tail. Like my mom and them did mine. They sure whooped me. Jesus, lamb. But anyway, today, Reverend Al Sharpton, we're waiting for him to call in. He should be calling in. It gave me a varied time, so it's a matter, as soon as he get off the show, he's going to call into this show, and then we're going to go ahead and have the Interdurn View. But while we are doing that, I just want to address some things I addressed in my car on the live yesterday as it relates to Jamal Harrison Bryant's live stream. He did 2 of them. The first stream, I told you guys that his facts, he struggled with the facts. His facts were not correct. The main one being that George Bloomers, the skinty one, quit the Word Network after the blackface ordeal and then went back. That was absolutely just not true. He came back last night and done a live and then said, let me retract that because that was not true. Also, his point of view as relates to this whole Kanye thing, I done told you guys about that. Go back and look at the video, what he did with that gift. First of all, he should not have told us at all that Kanye gave his church a donation. When they came there for the Sunday service, should have never happened. It was private. It should not have been public. That's my adorned opinion. Then as relates to who he called the hug judge, now we have more information on that. Lord have mercy. So, come to find out, and this happened on Tamron Hall news show, and I hope she get picked up everywhere in this blow up because she, not only is she fine, but she answered them, do questions pretty darn good. And she had the judge up there, Judge Tammy. What's her last name? Keith? No, the Judge Tammy. I can't think of the last name, just Tammy somebody. But anyway, she began to explain that the stroking of the hair that the bailiff was doing, she was actually checking for contraband because she had already sentenced her, but then they went on break. And when they went on break, people were not in place that normally do that. So she told the bailiff to begin to go ahead and check her. Of course, later on, they stripped her down. So she was checking her hair for contraband. She also said, I didn't just rise up in my spiritualizations and feel like God and them want to be the hug. They said, white woman. No. The white woman began to ask me, because she was crying and stuff. And said, oh, my God, I can't believe, will God forgive me and what have you. And then she was like, yeah, God forgive you, still have purpose. And she was talking to the lady like that because it's on recess. She'd already done the sentencing. And so at that particular moment, the girl asked her for a biblication. She asked her for a biblication. The girl wanted to get paper Bible saved. Now, how can we not understand this child want to get to know God and want to become a paper Bible Christian? Because she ain't know nothing about. I'm pretty sure she probably knew about the Bible and may have even had the app. But I done told y'all about that digital Bible saved. That thing won't help you. This girl on her way to prison probably scared that somebody going to whip her tail. White folk bruise easily. So this girl like, I got to get paper Bible saved. So, of course, this woman raised right, this judge, she had a paper Bible but was in her chambers. And so she said, y'all, I'll be right back. I'm going in to get my paper Bible. She went and got her own personal Bible out of her chambers and gave it to this here woman. So that is what happened. Now, we all end up victims of the media some darn times. And I must say, when I seen, actually the thing that got me was that boy hugging her. I'm going to tell you what I think. When I seen the boy get up and hug her, to me, and I know y'all probably going to kill me for this, but to me, I said, this boy don't look like he well. Just the way that he was talking and going about, I said, he don't seem like he well. So I'm, can I just hug her, please? That's a whole bunch of compassion. Maybe my spiritualizations is not on that level of compassion, but for me, I was like, I would have forgave you in privacies and maybe wrote you some letters later on to put some money on your books. But this boy was right there, ready right then to tell this woman that he was feeling so sorry for her and praying for her and all that kind of going on. Then it also made me think, I said, now wait a damn minute. Did this boy know that his brother was possibly fricking her? That was the first thing that came to me, because when I got a brother, you have certain kind of conversation. And so I'm like, did he know that maybe she really didn't mean to shoot him, that she really loved him because they were fricking us, had a bad moment? I don't know. But that's the stuff that passed through my head. I'm just thinking out loud. I don't know. This is all allegedly, and I'm just talking. I don't know. But now we know this. According to the judge, the reason why that she gave her a biblication and gave her a hug, because she asked for the biblication, and, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll please, she asked for the hug. Yeah, that's what she did. And I think while the judge was up, she just went over there and hugged Both and Jean's mama. Now, Both and Jean's mama had been talking about that police station and the way that they practice doing what they got going on. She was ranting, and she's still very vocal about that. And there has been some things that's sort of less than honorable that has happened as relates to the police station, some findings, and I'm going to say allegedly. And we may see that there may be some things or some foul play surrounding the guy that got shot in the mouth, or I heard somebody say in the jaw. That's interesting to me. And they're saying it's a drug deal. I ain't too sure about that. That I ain't too sure about. But I just wanted to talk about that and clear that up. Also, while we're waiting for Reverend Al Sharpton to come on the phone, I also wanted to make a mention about something else that's very big in the black community, and that is T.D. Jakes'. Well, his megafest is really big, but I don't think they had that in 2 years, so they're probably going to fade that out too. But the Woman Thou Art Loose, it's been going on for 30 years. I'm 41, going on 42 years old. I remember this for years and years and years. Started in West Virginia at his church as a Bible study. And then later on, it turned into a book that he sold out of his trunk, the trunk of his car, and sold 6 million copies. And later on, it became a worldwide phenomenon when women all over the world will come to the Woman Thou Art Loose. T.D. Jakes said, Daddy Jakes, he said, I'm tired of loosing women. I want to now go and do something a little different. If you're not loosed by now, get ready. You can come meet me in Atlanta, because after that, I'm not loosing nobody else. That's what he said. I heard him. He said it out of his mouth 2 days ago right here in Atlanta after he left Tyler Perry thing. He was here at the Tyler Perry thing. He wasn't even at church Sunday. He put Cynthia James over there to preach at church. I think it is Sunday or somebody else. I'm not too sure. But he was here in the Atlanta for some days and looking fly. Absolutely. You go type in V103 TD Jakes, you'll see that interview, and you see the glasses he had on with design. He had on this gold chain with a little piece of chunk of gold on it, and this little outfit with all of these stripes. Like he probably got it when he was over there in Africa with Pastor Thomas and the other boy that was carrying the bag, because I know they was over there. See, LRLs is everywhere. I had somebody tell me they was over there in a whole nother country, and I had featured them on the show, and so they stopped and said, I watched LRL. So I know everything to be going on. Is my eyes and my ears is around this entire world. It's just amazing. I never knew that it would end up being like this. But T.D. Jakes said, I'm through loosing y'all. Go to somebody else's conference and if you ain't get loose the last 30 years, it won't God's will for you to be free. Darn. That whole 30 years. You had a whole 30 years to get yourself together. And he is tired now. He's going on to something else. And he like cooking and baking and stuff. So he probably just want to go cook and bake and be there with Sarita and just watch his children, which he did say that he wanted to see his children, Sarah, Cora, and the rest of the children to go do whatever it is that they have been called to do. And he said, I don't want to be on one side of the country and my daughter on another side of the country. I want to be there. He wanted to be grandpa and wanted to be daddy. So he loosened up these women. That's what it said. Okay, hold on for a minute. I'm waiting for him now. Oh, okay. Okay, got it. So I know I got that. I got that message. I know exactly what to ask and what not to ask. I got you. All right, so I know exactly how to conduct this interview. I'm ready and I'm waiting. I can be sitting all day now. Somebody come on, call this number now. Come on, call. All right. Okay, now what's the other thing down there I sing down there? Right there. Neil Ellis. Now, those of you that watch this show know there's a few preachers that I absolutely do like. Of course, Daddy Jakes is at the top of the list. Absolutely. You guys may not like him, but I do. I don't know if there's anything that he can do that will make me not like him, even if we find out that he have maybe not been as holy as we thought and he got a baby somewhere. I would think he probably in their life and taking care of me. You don't know nothing about it. I don't care if I find out that I don't care if I find out he got a little boyfriend. I want that one. You is still T.D. Jakes. Did you treat the boyfriend right? You probably did. I like T.D. Jakes, and I think he's probably integral. Now, I am well aware that there have been my biggest stories over the last year and a half have been the very preachers I sat here in this chair and praised. So if I think opposite or find out off opposite or something comes out opposite, you will find out about it with me sitting right here in this chair. I've already proved that. Now, I also like Bishop Neil Ellis. Bishop Neil Ellis got his own reformation. He broke off up out of full gospel. And I have found this guy, prior to me even doing this job, to be very interesting. I will never forget. I went down to Florida. Went down there to Florida. I can't remember what I was there for. I think it has to do something with some music. He was one of the speakers. I said, I'm just going to go here. I sat on the second row, slipped in behind the preachers. I said, I'm just going to sit here and listen to what this man got to say. And this man began to preach and teach on the glory of God. And I promise you, I don't know what happened. Even when I think back about it right now, I don't know what happened. I know I was sitting there in the chair, but I woke up and I was under the chair in front of me. And I don't know what happened, but I just remember the more he taught, I just felt God like rising, and then he was rising, and then he was rising, and then it's like something dropped. And then I came to later on. And then while I was crying, I was thinking to I get back to Ellis. Sharpton is on the line right now. So we are about to have I'll finish that conversation. After Sharpton get off the line, I'm going to tell you about Bishop Neil Ellis, who is one of the first prominent black preachers to stand up as it relates to the whole Plantation Network debacle. And I'm going to tell you about that and read a part of his letter. But right now, Reverend Al Sharpton is on the line, so we want to speak with him. All right, Reverend Al.
How you doing, Larry?
I'm doing really well. So glad to have you on the line here. We need your input.
Well, I have read this letter that was sent, and frankly, I'm outraged. And I've been talking here. I just got off there myself at National Action Network. We're reviewing this, and some of the ministers, I understand, are making a move next week. And I think that we cannot have a plantation arrangement anywhere in this country, and particularly in the gospel area. And as the ministers move, I'm talking with National Urban League head Mark Morial, myself from National Action Network. They may have our full support. We are reviewing this. We'll be talking to the ministers. We know Mr. Adele, but let me tell you something. Notwithstanding any relationship, no one can pay or befriend us to be offended or insulted. So we want to see the bottom of this, and we will be absolutely responding once the ministers do their press conference next week. But I want to just call into you and say I'm outraged, and we're looking very seriously into this.
Let me ask you one question before you go. What is the position that you think that the preachers who are connected to this network should take right now? What is the right now action that they should take?
I can't direct that what they should do. I can say that what they're expressing gives them room that they should make their voices heard to the public first, and they need to address directly these concerns to Kevin Adele, who has had a relationship with them. The last thing they should do is be silent, and the last thing they should do is continuing supporting. It's one thing for somebody to offend me. It's another thing for me to help sponsor you offending me.
Whoa. I 100% agree. Reverend Sharpton, we had to hear from you, Reverend Jackson. He's here in our city right now doing something with Lewis, the actor. But we had to hear from our black leaders on a situation like this.
That's why we called you, and we will be calling you next week as this continues to go forward.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right.
All right. All right, so something is underway, and we're going to be hearing more and more about this, and I'm going to bring you the update as I get the updates. Now, getting back to one of the first prominent black preachers to stand up to the Plantation Network, and this is exactly what we just heard from Reverend Al Sharpton. He said what they should be doing is speaking to the public, They should be speaking to Kevin Adele, and they should be withdrawing. They should not be supporting, and they should not be lending a hand in what I'm going to call oppression, disrespect, and pissing on black dignity. And this great man, as I said, there ain't but a few that are like. I'm just going to tell you what truth is. I'm just the whole truth. And Bishop Neil Ellis is one of them. And he has made a statement and withdrawn his program off of the Word Network, the Plantation Network. You know, one of the things before I read this, put Jamal back up there. One of the things that Jamal did, J-Mal, that he did while he was running his mouth. You know, he do that real good. I was even witnessing when he was saying, I said, talk, dude. One of the things that he said, he explained and described a plantation network. Did you hear what Reverend Al said? He said, we can't have a plantation. We cannot have a plantation in 2019. He said there are 100, maybe he was thinking this was helping this case, but these years is critical. 150 employees at the Word Network, which I'm calling the Plantation Network, where the owner is Kevin Adele. 150 employees. 3 of them are white. That means 147 field niggas. Now, Bishop George Bloomer was the house nigga. One of them. The main one. Highest earning. When I say earning, it's real. I shouldn't even say that because that don't even sound right. But what it means is bringing in the most donations for the network. Maybe all of this ain't the way that Jesus meant for none of this to go, because it's just a thin line where you can get over into that thing. Of course, all house niggas are yellow and light skinned and skinty. Probably the reason why he had to have the surgery, because he's gonna be that big and be a house nigga. It's too big, too fluffy. No, too big. But anyway, so he described a plantation. 147 of the 150 employees at the Plantation Network are black. And the 3 are in charge. Listen here now. The 3 white people are in charge. Okay, you got the master always in the house. Then you have the white man in charge at the field with the gun. And then you had the head nigger, the head field nigger that checked behind everybody. This is the darn plantation. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, Lord have mercy. Get y'all hind part down there in the Tyler Perry studios. Y'all better get down there in the Tyler Perry, get down there in the Tyler Perry studios. Get down there to the Tyler Perry studios. Get down there to the Tyler Perry studios. And ask him for one of them 12 stations. I'm hollering, ain't got no business hollering. Ask him for one of those 12 stations to do your church in and your gospelist stuff. Do something, because get away from there. Well, there are 3 other black stations. Now Network, God, what's the other one? Don't slip my name. Rhema and Impact. And I think Impact, they say, is in 90 million homes now. This is not your only option. You can go somewhere else. And I know Lexi worked over there and Lexi, this is what I ain't never understood. Lexi don't even have to be a gospel artist or do gospel nothing. The way that fun as that girl is, as talented, and she's shaped like Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. She can go into she need to move out of Detroit, move to Atlanta. That's what she need to do. Lexi need to move out of Detroit and move to Atlanta and start her whole new life. She done had that whole mess up with her wedding, the 2 or 3 weddings, and they ain't never happened. Get your son and come on down. He funny too. Come on down here. And then text me your address so I can come over because I saw that video where you were twerking. Ooh, Lord. Gee, did y'all see that video on Lexi Instagram? And you said she was holding back because her audience is church people. So she was just doing like just shaking it. But she can twerk. I guarantee you. And when a woman can twerk like that, that's what they do when they own it. You had to just read between the lines. That's what they do. They can do that while they own it. That means they got strong thighs and calves. So they can hold themselves in the squat position right over it. And go up and down like that rip. You get what I'm saying? All right, don't let your children watch this show. Don't let them see sports. I can get back to Neil Ellens. Now, Neil Ellens, I'm going to read his letter. Now, in Patreon, I put the actual letter in there. So I'm only going to read a portion of it. From the office of His Grace, Bishop Neil Ellis, CMG, DD, DDI, PhD. He got a whole bunch of letters. Got a pretty alphabet behind his name. This is October the 9th. So this happened yesterday, and I got it today. Ain't God a good receptacle leaking God? God of the receptacles, we give you praise. We give you thanks right now for every receipt that you shall send to me to LarryReidLive.com so that I can discuss the things that need to be talked about in our community. We thank you right now for how you have blessed me in such a way, receptacle leaking God, to get this here letter. And I ask, receptacle leaking God, that you continue to send the receptacles that I need in order to do what you have called me to do in this last and evil day. For that, Habashiki, we give you praise. Oh my God, I'm cutting up. Let me stop. I shouldn't be doing this with my throat. Hold on. Hold on. All right, I'm just going to read a little piece. My dear brother Kevin Adele, president of the Plantation Network. He put their name, but I ain't saying that the devil is a lie. It is what it is. I see in the spirit. I pray that this missive finds you in the best health and in mind and spirit. Let's jump through all of this churchy stuff and get down to the business. I am saddened. Oh, let me read it like Neil Ellis. When can I do that? I am saddened over. Sometimes he talk like he underwater and his voice is high. I can't do that. I could do it if I had, but I got to be careful because I'd be right sad. And I'm not talking to nobody. Don't nobody call me to my text. Text me, Damar. I am saddened over the most recent controversy that has risen involving yourself and Skinny Version Bishop Bloomers. Skinny Version Bishop Bloomers. And even more saddened over the fact that in spite of my personal mediation, we were not able to come to a place of reconciliation. Wait a minute. So the rumors that I heard about some black bishop being the mediator was actually you, Neil. You're so nice. You're such a godly man. Now, if you believe and you trust in the integrity of Bishop Neil Ellis, clearly he was trying to mediate and Adele didn't do what's right. Adele going to hell. Adele is going to hell. Oh my God. If you trust in his integrity and you're still on that network, you a plantation preacher. Get your hits up off that network. And y'all call Big Mama and them, tell them don't be looking at the show no darn more. All right, I'm going to open up this lines in the middle of the day. I'm going to take 5 phone calls. 5 phone calls. I'm going to take 5 phone calls. I'm going to take 5 phone calls. I know y'all like to sign off when I open up the line, but sometimes you miss some stuff. After this commercial break, we're coming back and taking phone calls. 646-787-8174. That's 646-787-8174. I'll be right back. Commercial.
Are you in need of direction for a decision you have to make? Maybe you're curious about the future. If that's you, the founders of Zoe Ministries and the Company of Prophets are offering you free prophecy. Call 888-831-0434. Don't wait. Call 888-831-0434. Do it today. Want to become a wellness coach or holistic health counselor? Get certified with Dr. Womack. As a master herbalist with over 30 years of experience, your learning and your training will be extensive. Go to bishopwomack.com, click services, and go to the wellness portal and begin healing yourself and others today. Holistic doctor and educator Shema Womack can help you discover how to eat your way to healing, get out of debt, improve your well-being, and live the prosperous life. Join him weekly on Wellness Wednesdays on a live conference call for teaching and a free question and answer session. Wellness Wednesdays with the prophetic physician. Join by dialing 888-601-9625. That's 888-601-9625.
And we are back. We have heard from Reverend Al Sharpton, and you heard what he said concerning this. So we should be looking about no more than 14 days. We're going to hear something more official. Meantime, he said we should not be supporting anything that is like a plantation right about now. Ain't that what it said? Now that's what it said. All right, so you make sure you tell everybody, tell your pastor and them they need to sign the darn petition. Let me go ahead and put that in there so y'all know what you need to be doing. Go ahead, sign the petition. Oh, wait a minute. Bishop Bernard Jordan has called in. We're gonna put him first on the line. It must be that one with all them ones. I didn't know you're gonna do that. Oh no, not that one. It's that one in them 4-3. Let's see. Master Prophet, Archbishop, and every other title in the bodies of the Christ. Bernard Jordan, so glad you called in, man.
My eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
Oh, my God.
I listen, I want to just say I was watching your program, and I had people in my house here watching it. Listen, I salute you for your boldness, and I salute you for allowing the drumbeat to happen in the community. This has been happening for a long time, and in reading there, Bishop Neil Ellis, I want to just salute him for his genius because he's taken a stand. And what I want to say is that I'm in the process of starting a book called The Plantation Preacher. And you couldn't have a plantation network unless there is the plantation preacher. There's always been a history of the plantation preacher. And the plantation preacher is going to seek to try to save the plantation because they're going to begin to believe it's our house and not really realize it's the master's house. And so we're getting calls night and day of ministers that are saying, wow. And then I'm getting a lot of calls from people that are telling me their backstories of experiences that they've had. And so I want to salute you, Larry, for what you've taken on to allow this to be one of the platforms that was not afraid to allow the community's voice to be heard and let it resound. And my prayer is that God would raise up a group of clergy in our nation that will begin to take a conversation to the White House, and it's got to be confronted by preachers, liberals and conservative preachers, that will begin to speak a word about addressing America's original sin, and that is original sin of America is racism. And when we begin to heal that, then we will begin to experience what Dr. Martin Luther King called the beloved community. And it's time for the beloved community to show forth and the kingdom of God to be demonstrated. Thank you.
Well, that's all you're going to say?
Huh?
Bishop, while I got you on the phone, I know you're not going. One thing that I didn't get to get out of Only Love, she hit it a little bit. I want you to tell us what black privilege is and what it looks like in this situation. Please.
Black privilege is just as bad as white supremacy, because it means that I would have to give up my privilege. Now, if I am in 93 million homes and I'm going to come off because someone pissed on a black preacher, that means I got to decide whether I'm going to stand with the evil that has been done. When we begin to understand we are man in the image of God, our anthropology, I either stand on the side of never again. You gotta admit, if we were a black owner and we said something derogatory to Jews, every Jew would stand up on his feet and say anti-Semite. The problem with our community is we don't all know how to stand up and say anti-Hamite, anti-Hamitic, and we stand together as a unit. And black privilege means that I don't want to give up my privilege in order for the community to be made whole.
Okay,
and
Bishop.
So we have
okay,
a lot of
I got to repeat that again. Black privilege means that I will not give up my privilege in order to make my community whole. Black privilege means that I will not give up my privilege in order to make my whole community whole. Continue on, Bishop.
Yes. When we begin to see Dr. Samuel Proctor talked about those of us that are privileged, it is our responsibility to pull the rest of the community above the scratch line. We also begin to see W.E. Du Bois talks about the talented tenth, which is like the tithe of the community. Those of us that are the tithe of the community, it is our responsibility to pull the rest of the 90% of the community over. What the sin has been of the mega church is that they got over, but never pulled the 90% of the other preachers over. The leaders got over, but never, the elite got over, but never pulled over the downtrodden, never made that platform. And so we now are looking at, in our tongue-talking charismatic faith, how many of us can actually stand with our beloved brother, Bishop Bloomer, especially those that Bishop Bloomer has helped. Now, I didn't just meet Bishop Bloomer. Me and Bishop Bloomer ran around with each other as teenage boys. So we go back some 40-plus years, 45-plus years. But if this happened to Bishop Bloomer, it's got to be clear, never to one of us ever again and never again. But it wasn't just Bishop Bloomer it happened to. Something similar happened to, allegedly, to Vicki Winan, and we were quiet. Teresa Hairston, and we were quiet. Bishop Jordan, and they definitely was quiet. And Louis Gibbs, who built that network, and we were quiet. And Jesse Jackson was snatched off the network, which fought for the network. And guess what? We were quiet. So if he can get away with pissing on our elders, then he can piss on the entire community. Black privilege never stood up, but black privilege watched him continually piss. And it takes the straw that breaks the camel back. And so I'm calling all of you that are privileged, that have a voice. And if you are a prophet, what is a prophet? A prophet is one that afflicts the comfortable and comforts the afflicted. And a true prophet of liberation, a prophet of liberation, a prophet that has liberation theology in their bones, listen to me. They would never side with their oppressors. And for those that are still on the network, they are financing their own oppression.
Good Google move. Y'all, this is Archbishop, Master Prophet E. Bernard Jordan. Let me tell you something. I put this in the comments while you were talking, Bishop. First of all, thank you so much for sharing. What this man says, and I'm not boosting him up because y'all know he's my mentor. I adopted him as my mentor about a year ago. And I keep it very real, and he keeps it real with me, I keep it real with him. And this, you're getting to see who Bernard is. This is not he's not faking. This is who he is. When he takes his privilege that he has, consistently laying it down to bring others up above the scratch line. Now, he ain't going to come down to your level and get up into your craziness, but he is going to help you come above the scratch line. I'm using my privilege right now and have been to bring others above the scratch line. And what needs to happen, in my opinion, with those of us in our community who are privileged, is to bring the whole of their community above the scratch line, which is the reason why I had a whole issue with T.I., some of these other rappers, some of the things they be saying, but then their lyrics is consistently, destroying our community. Bishop, thank you.
And I want to say something. I mean, like right now, I am not a part of a reformation, and I've been in real prayer about this. And with what I've heard, right? What I've heard and what I've seen, that's why I want to commend Bishop Neil Ellis. I mean, I know he's from the Bahamas, but I want to commend him and see when we begin to look at this next generation, what we will align with. We've got to align with voices that are not afraid to be vocal, and we got to align with voices that are not afraid to be in the forefront. Now, Neil Ellis, that's an individual that's fit for the future. Many of the others, I am concerned because their silence is scary. How do we let this happen to a bloomer? I mean, it shouldn't happen to the least of us, but how do we let this happen to our brother? And I know what suffering was like. Because when the church attacked Bishop Pearson, I stopped what I was doing in ministry, and I stayed there with him in Tulsa for 6 weeks and was at his church every time the church doors opened for 6 weeks. I stood with him. It had nothing to do with my agreement. It had to do with that I was standing with my brother. And if we do not learn now how to stand with one another, we are signing up for our own extinction as a race of people and forget about talking about being the body of Christ. Listen, Larry, I'm getting so wound up here, and I don't want to make this here about me, but the struggle is real. And so I'm calling out every black preacher, all of you that are black privileged. I don't want to make you a part of my book, but you will be. If your voice is silent, we now have got to start to confront that. And I am ready. You know what? I'm distinguishing something, Larry. I am now 60 years old. And there's a difference from being called and called to do. I have distinguished that up to this point, at my 60th birthday, I was called to be a prophet. At the age of 60, I have now said yes to do the work of the prophet. Now, what does that look like? That means that all this time, Bishop, you haven't been doing the work. No, I haven't done the work of the prophet yet. I had only answered the call to the prophet, and I've been in preparation. But now I'm getting ready to do the work of the prophet. And what does that look like? Tearing down all the false idols. Like, why do we have churches that are bringing people that are not anointed vessels on our altars to proclaim what gospel? We've got to now have prophets that will arise to do the work of the prophets. So
with the prophet, when you say you're doing the work, now you're doing the work of the prophet. A prophet will confront racism, yes or no?
Oh, most definitely.
A prophet will confront women abuse, children abuse, fatherlessness, yes or no?
The two things that the prophet must do is that we as men of God must protect our women and protect our children. Listen, Jesus fed 5,000 men, not counting women and children. Now it's time for women and children to count. And let me tell you something. When you look at the plantation preacher, the black man on the plantation was only good for one thing. He was good to work and to have sex and make babies outside of marriage. We need to begin to honestly look. When we make children outside of marriage, are we fulfilling the white supremacy manifest destiny and what black people were brought to America to do?
Bishop.
Don't say bishop.
No,
this is the church.
No. What I'm saying, okay, let me get you off the phone. When he get like this, then we start butting heads. I'm saying, Bishop, what I'm saying is you are so right. That is so true. Man, that is crazy. What have we had?
Wait. For you to be called out for doing Isaiah 58:1, cry loud, spare not. Show my people their transgressions and the house of Jacob their sin. You're being brought to court because you're showing the house of Jacob their sin? No. We as black preachers, we got to stand for something or we'll fall for anything.
Okay, I got to let you go there, Bishop, because you might get me in trouble. Let me say this, Bishop. That thing is on you right now. That thing. How many days you into your fast?
I just completed a 9-day fast. Amen. And I was, excuse me, I forgot this is a secular platform.
Yes,
but listen, I've been 9 days fasting, and I've been in fasting and prayer. There's a group of people that's fasting and praying. And what I'm concerned about, I'm really thinking about rereading. I did this in a sermon. I did a 20-week sermon on this years ago on how to make a nigger out of the Willie Lynch letter. And some say it's bogus, some say it isn't. But when you begin to look at it, here is someone that is coming to individuals, telling them, almost as a consultant, how to begin to organize and do man-breaking and slave-making. And when we begin to look at it, and what we are faced with in this hour is to pit the young against the old. Now, I was in a session at a university when a professor came. He was in all of his brilliance. And he said to us, he says, I was brought here to speak, but before I could speak, I began to ask my elders, did I have permission? And so he says, my elders gave me permission, so I am only sharing what I'm sharing with you because the elders have given me permission. My challenge here is that with whatever went on with the other night with Reverend Jamal Bryant, conversation, was the elders consulted? We've got to get to the place, because what happens, they pit the young against the old. And this is an old trick that Master does. Pit the millennials against the baby boomers. Pit the young against the old. And we see it. I've seen it in my own household. If I told you one of my sons came back and started saying, when my son Joshua returned home, he says, I asked my father's forgiveness and I asked my church forgiveness. And we were looking because we were shocked. We said, forgiveness for what? He says, because when I was out running with my brother, I had sided with all of my father's enemies. And I was like, whoa. And we were in a workshop that was dealing with forgiveness. And these were enemies that were preachers that was condoning the empowerment of my sons against their father. This is old play tricks. And so we cannot have people talking about let's see, can we save Master's house? No. We got to call it what it is. Mm-hmm. And if you are in a position and you're black privilege, what is black privilege? When you have a car to ride in your name. If you own a house, you're black privilege. If you have an income that is making over $75,000 a year, you're black privilege. Now, I need you to ask yourself the question, every time you air on the network, are you financing the oppression of your own people? And that's all I got to say.
Jesus. Bishop Bernard Jordan, thank you so much for calling in.
You're welcome. Love you, and keep doing the work, Larry.
All right.
We're behind you.
All right.
Bye.
See, that's the kind of the mentorship that I get when that thing is good. I'm gonna tell you, my mom and my dad are great, wonderful people. They raised me really well, but I've had a string of mentors, and the mentor that I have right now has been such a blessing in my life. Don't y'all signing off? Y'all think I'm gonna get off because he's finished? Everybody started hanging up. I'm going to still take your phone call. Put the number right there, 646-787. I'm just going to take 5. Give me your name, where you're calling from, and I'll give you a minute to talk, okay? Let's go. Caller ending in 1104. What's your name, where you're calling from?
Hi, Reid. This is Tara calling from Texas. First off, I want to say I commend you and your platform for everything that you stand for. Really quick, I wanted to say that, first of all, I did sign the petition. And I wanted to also say that for those that, and yes, I have been reading the comments, I was discouraged by some of the things that I had seen with some people saying, oh, I don't like Bloomer, or I don't believe in Ellis. Listen, it's bigger than them. We're talking about us.
Come on.
As a people. We have been, I'm trying to find the words. I'm sorry. I'm kind of nervous because I haven't called in. But we have been disrespected. So you got to look beyond personalities that have been on TV and look to us as a people. So you can't worry about who you like, who you don't like. Look at us as a race, as a people. We have been held down long enough. So you got to look past that, sign the petition, because it's bigger than the TV personalities that you see. Quit worrying about things like, well, also that Walmart is a plantation as well. Stick to one thing at a time. We're talking about here and talking about the Plantation Network. and
that says it's a black, the largest black owned. We got to start this is in our yard, you guys. This is us. This is in our yard.
And instead of trying to discourage other people from signing the petition or whatever, and us encouraging people to go to some of the actual black-owned things that we have, other black-owned networks, what is that going to hurt? That's going to build us up. So if you're not going to help the situation, don't hurt the situation. Sit down in a corner somewhere and don't hurt the other people that are of us that are trying to do something. Don't be one of those type of people. Don't be, excuse my language, a house nigger. And start being a person that's going to either put up or shut up.
Absolutely.
And that's all I got to say, Larry. Thank
all right. I like the way you talk. I think that's a good way for me to go off air. And that's the reason why those in there to my Al's a crook. Oh, I don't like Jordan. He got 4 or 5 houses. I delete all your comments. And it depends on the mood I'm in. I may ban you from the platform forever because you're actually contributing to what Master has done to us. And you're sick. Because if you can't put that to the side and say we need to stand up and we need to be dignified and demand respect for our talent and for our dollar, and put that first and do what you're talking about later on. We can do that at the cookout. We can do that at kitchen table talk and get folk to explain themselves, or rebuke people and correct people that need to be corrected, and put that to the back. Right now, we need to come together. And that needs to happen right now. It's too late. It's already been too late. All right, so we're going to be getting marching orders from Reverend Al Sharpton in no more than 14 days, according to what he said here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please share this link with every darn body. Make sure you sign up and become a Patreon, a patron. If you are a patron, you want to contribute and say, I see your Cash App sitting there and all that stuff, but I ain't got no money. You got $12 every 30 days. It sounds small, but together it helps a lot to do what needs to be done here. Thousands of dollars that go out every single month to do this platform. And then Saturday, if you can drive to Atlanta, if there's some more tickets left, get them and meet me here at 7 o'clock for a live show and a live recording. All right, you don't want to miss it. Get VIP. We eat together and laugh together. You go live with me on YouTuberations because tomorrow my band lifts. Hallelujah. All right, see y'all later. Peace.